this audit is designed to find the specific, what we call the leaks in your role. And we're going to do this very quickly on here, just to give you a feel for it. But then I would strongly advise that this is something that you do go away and think about further. If you can get yourself a piece of paper, pen, pencil, or something equivalent of, because I'm going to ask you to think about the last 5 days, your last 5 working days. And I want you to make a list, first of all, of the top 3 tasks that felt like that administrative friction for you. So these are the things that made you sigh when you saw them pop up on your calendar. You thought, oh. Or tasks that when you've been doing it, you've thought, you know what? I am so overqualified for this. Not in a kind of a big-headed kind of way, just a frustration kind of way. This is a real waste of my time and my talents. Or you've maybe thought to yourself, why does it take 4 people to make this decision? So just give you 30 seconds or so just to think about 3 tasks that made you feel like that or think like that. And just pop them on your piece of paper. Okay, now just have a look at those tasks. And I think if those 3 tasks disappeared tomorrow, how much lighter, how much more headspace do you think you would have tomorrow and the week ahead if you could just get rid of those 3 top tasks? What I want you to do is keep those tasks in mind, because those are going to be our primary targets for what we call the AI dividend, and we're going to discuss that as we go through. So to become a work architect, we have to stop seeing tasks as just to-dos, things we've got to do. And we need to start thinking about them and seeing them in terms of energy flows. And there's a matrix on screen at the moment. So if we start with the engines, so the engines are high value, high energy. And this is really where we want to spend our time. This is your architect work, where we're doing coaching, we're strategizing, using creative problem solving. And this is why we're leaders. This is our role as a leader, our high value kind of role as a leader. And then if we move down, we go to the still high value but low energy, what we call the maintenance quadrant. Very necessary tasks, but more routine. So things like budget approvals, compliance, essential reporting, those kind of things. And then we move into the drain. So low value, but high energy. Drain, use a lot of our energy. And this is what we call the danger zone. This is where we're constantly chasing people for things. We're doing manual data entry. We're meeting about meetings. And this is actually where burnout lives. And then in our last quadrant, the ghosts. Low value, low energy. And these are those habitual tasks that we do because we've always done them. Nobody's told us not to do them. We don't actually know why we do them. We don't even think anybody actually looks at the output of it, but it's just something that we do. I'm going to stop for a moment or two, well, a minute or two, and give you an opportunity now just to think about, if you draw that quadrant onto your piece of paper, and just to start to plot your work on to what is known as the energy leak map. So on your piece of paper, draw that map and then place the reoccurring weekly tasks into those 4 boxes. So here's the hard truth, and you'll obviously be able to look at yours and see which of the quadrants you spend most of your time in. But most managers are spending 60% of their time in the drains and the ghosts. So if you're spending your best kind of mental energy, that prime time, perhaps it's your morning caffeine window, maybe you are very much a morning person, but if you're spending the time when you are at your mental best, you have the most mental energy on a drain task, like manually updating information, you aren't just losing time. What you're also doing, though, you're losing that cognitive bandwidth. You're losing the advantage of having that higher level of mental energy. And that's what's required to be a leader or an architect for your team. So, really, one of our goals today is simply to try and get rid of these ghosts and automate the drains. Streamline the maintenance quadrant so that you can spend up to 80% of your time in that engine quadrant, doing those leadership, human only kind of tasks. And if we could just move just 1 hour a day from a drain to an engine, that would be 250 hours a year of high level strategic leadership that you've just given back to your team and your organisation. And if you think about that and multiply that by however many managers and leaders there are in your organisation and multiply that up, it's pretty astounding. And just think of the difference, the impact that that would make.